YouTube, welcome back to the channel, man. It's your favorite reactor, man, and I'm back with yet another reaction video, man. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and we're gonna get right into this content, man.
I just want to address the court today, and I'm not here to dispute anything. I'm just here to be a man and take responsibility and express my feelings about what is, this whole situation. You know, that's what I plan on doing.
Okay. And how do you feel?
I feel very remorseful. This is a terrible situation. It's been a traumatic experience.
Let me ask you this. So, how old were you when you were arrested?
I was 18 years old.
We heard you had started some college offers and didn't get very far, right?
All right.
What have you done since you've been in jail? Is there programs or the things that you can do there?
So, I've gotten into programs. I've also, I grew up, in church and, in a Christian household. So I refocused my, life to Christ, and, I've taken a lot of religious programs. I've read the Bible from cover to cover. I've tried to, share some word, and, we have prayer circles in the jail and stuff like that. I've led a couple, prayer circles, and I've tried to, kids around my age or, younger, since I'm 20 years old now, when you turn 18, you go to the adult pods and stuff like that. So if I see somebody who I see, has a lot of potential and has a chance to keep them from, basically being able to be corrected at this opportunity and not come back, I try to take them under my wing. I just see I have a lot of resources and a lot of family that love me, and they've even, asked me, like, hey, is there anybody in there who doesn't have somebody like that who, could be sending some money, like, anything like that. So I've tried to, be a vessel for God to pour over my blessings into those around me.
We heard from Mr. Panasco, who said that in prison that there is opportunities at times to be a mentor or do orientations and peer-to-peer things like that. Is that something that you'd be interested in doing?
Of course, I definitely want to, try my absolute best to course correct anybody from falling down a path that they don't have to take, especially the youth. I feel like that's my calling that God has put on my heart to, be a mentor to the youth and be a positive influence in this world.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete.
What about those relationships? Like you said, you have a lot of people. Are you able to maintain those relationships now?
Yeah, so, everybody who I, maintain a relationship wasn't able to all be here today or, even testify.
About those relationships, like you said.
This is his mom, and this is his grandmother. This is 20-year-old Sean Gathright that was involved. He was one of the alleged shooters in the Julio Foolio case. Well, not alleged because he got found guilty, right? He's basically on his stand at this point trying to plead his case. He's either facing life in prison without parole or he's facing the death penalty. Now, the defense team is pushing for the death penalty. So he's on the stand, like, pleading his case. His grandmother took the stand. His mother took the stand. She's ex-military, so the kid grew up with everything that he needed, right? Julio Foolio is a well-known rapper in Jacksonville, Florida. It was an ongoing beef, like street war that was going on, and they ended up getting the ups on him one day, and they ended up executing him, ended up taking his life. He was one of the alleged shooters, and he was one of the shooters. I keep saying alleged, but he's already been found guilty. He's one of the shooters, right? So there's three other ones that's already getting a death penalty. I'm not exactly sure why he's the only one that's able to take the stand. He's the only one that's trying to take the stand. Mind you, they gave him a plea. They tried to give him a plea deal before that, and they tried to take it to trial. So they took it to trial and blew trial. So now they're looking at either life in prison or the death penalty.
A lot of people are able
He was 18 years old when the situation happened. He's 20 years old now.
to maintain those relationships now?
Yeah, so, everybody who I, maintain a relationship wasn't able to all be here today or, even testify. But, I talk to them daily, weekly, bi-weekly. I cherish my supporters very deeply, and I want to maintain a relationship with them for the rest of my life.
I know we're not going to talk about the case itself, right? But you said that you were taking accountability, you felt remorseful. Tell us what you mean by that and what statement you want to make.
To the victim's family, I want to send my deepest condolences, and I understand that it's hard losing a child, a best friend, a brother, a cousin, and for that I just cannot say sorry enough. I feel terrible about the situation, but I'm a firm believer that God can use anything for good that the devil wants it for bad. And so I'm grateful for the people I've met, for the lessons I've learned, for just this experience in general, because it's one that I'll never forget, and it's going to shape the rest of my life. And so I'm grateful for the people I've met, for the lessons I've learned, for just this experience in general, because it's one that I'll never forget, and it's going to shape the rest of my life.
Sounds like there's a saying that's kind of cheesy, but you make lemons out of lemonade or whatever.
Lemons.
Somehow, I always don't make lemonade, but it sounds to me like you are going to try and make the best of a bad situation. Does that sound about right?
Of course.
And are you going to continue to do that?
Of course. I'm going to try to, continue a humble life, righteous life, try to do the right things at all times, and,
Will you apprise yourself? We heard about some courses and programs and things that you can get involved with to stay busy in prison. Is that something that you plan to do?
Yeah, so hearing Raul's testimony was, the first glimpse that I have of, what prison could be like. I want to stay as busy as possible, stay away from bad apples, I want to, keep a job, get in the programs, try to get into any vocational things I can do, try to, keep my record clean to, go to the best incentivized things and have visits with my family, and, I just want to just stay out of the way, just want to make everything, peaceful as can be.
Even knowing that you're not getting out of prison, you want to make the best of your stay there?
Of course. I mean, who wouldn't? If you're going to be somewhere for the rest of your life, I would just make your life a living hell.
And you're young, right? 20?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I have a minute? Yes. I'll pass this. Okay.
You would agree with me that Charles Jones was young too, wasn't he?
That's a young answer.
26, right?
So now, I don't really know like the law terms. I assume this is the defense team. They about to come up and basically give you an understanding of what actually going on. He's about to deflect everything that he's doing. So Sean Gathright just sat up there and was basically like, yeah, I'm remorseful for what I did. I feel bad. They want the death penalty. Like they're pushing for like death penalty or like nothing. Like not or nothing, but they don't want the life imprisonment. They want death. They want them to die, bro. Like they feel like whatever they did, which is the motive behind it, he really ain't have no motive, right? You get what I'm saying? Like he's a good kid. He got good hair, light skin. He got mom, grandma. His mom was an ex-military, nice house. Grandma was super supportive. Was supposed to be going to college. I think he went to college for like a semester or something, but was making a bad grades. He's just one of those, one of those kids that got everything, but just want to hang with the bad kids because that's the cool thing to do. You dig what I'm saying? Like, we all have been there as kids. Like, for me, for instance, bro, I used to do my homework and not turning my homework in because I thought it was the cool thing to do. I thought that was cool. You dig what I'm saying? But then I grown up and realized, like, having a 3.0, 3.5, being on the Dean's Honor Roll, going to college, that's the cool thing to do. That's what makes your mom and your people's happy for you, bro. What are you living for, gang? So he has got himself in a situation where he done threw his life away trying to hang out with some people that don't got nothing to do with him. They had actual motives, right? The Julio Foolio kid that he's about to describe that they actually did the execution on, he wasn't an angel, right? He done did things to the people family. He done got people killed, probably done been in shootings, and he was a well-known rapper that used to diss the dead all the time. So the other three people, that's why I think they're not on the stand. I'm not exactly sure, so I don't want to say that. But they had actually motives, though. One guy was on the stand and was like, yeah, my grandmother had a heart attack. He said, my mom had a heart attack. My grandmother died just because of the simple fact that the Julio Foolio dude that they ended up killing that night, he used to taunt them and used to pee on his cousin's grave and just diss him all the time in songs. And he was a big rapper in Jacksonville, so everywhere you go, you hearing the song of him dissing. So they had actually motive to get back. He just wanted to be down. He was an old brandy ass nigga. He just wanted to be down.
Yes, sir. That's what the evidence showed us, correct? You were sitting here watching that.
But he about to tear him up.
Correct? The evidence that came in over the last several weeks?
I was right there.
Yeah. And you want to take accountability now, correct? You want to take accountability now that this jury has found you guilty, correct?
Yes, sir.
Weeks after we went through a trial. Is that your testimony?
I'm a sustained objection.
You indicated this was a traumatic experience. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
That's what you just testified to, correct?
That's what I said.
Please have one moment, Your Honor, in front of you.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Stage 25C, you remember Gino Norris?
Yes, sir.
You remember him? He was also really young when this happened, wasn't he?
I didn't know how old he was.
Early 20s, 22. Would that surprise you?
No, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Gino Norris, who's not a gang member, who's Charles Jones' friend from the time they were children.
That's the legal basis. Okay, come on up, counsel.
That past that Tesla. Were you feeling a lot of trauma at that point?
So long ago, I try to not remember anything from that night.
Were you remorseful as you were running back with that AR-15 in your hands?
Like I said, I try to remember nothing from that night.
Was it traumatic to you as you went back to the car? With that AR-15, was it still smoking? Was it still warm in your hands from firing it?
Sustained injection.
Were you feeling remorse as you were getting back into the Impala?
Like I said, I just try to focus on today and moving forward.
So the next day, that Impala, that was your car. You drove that around, right? It was your mom's, but you drove that car, correct?
Yes, it was my mother's car.
Right. And that was the car you drove from Jacksonville to Tampa, correct? I'm working to a point, Your Honor.
Okay, why don't we just get there?
Right. So this car, this Impala that you drove from Jacksonville to Tampa in, with Mr. Chance and Miss Andrews, the one that you drove in tandem with the Silver Cruise, the same car that you utilized to drive the assault team, the shooting team, which you were a part of that night, that same car that you drove around Tampa in the early morning hours for several hours, tracking, stalking, and hunting Charles Jones and his entourage.
Sustained.
That same Impala, you drove that to Polk County the next day, and you dropped it at your grandmother's house, right? The same grandmother who came in here last night and testified for you, correct?
Overall, go ahead, you can answer that question.
Isn't that correct?
What is the question?
You dropped the Impala, the one that had all of these shooters in it, the one that was utilized in this murder, that was such a vital cog in this plan. You dropped it at your grandmother's house in Auburndale, didn't you?
I'm here to testify about today.
Are you going to answer that question, or are you going to avoid it? Because that's not what I asked that you do here today. I think we all understand what you're here to do today, what you're testifying about.
So, like he stated, and I ain't gonna reiterate everything that he's saying though. So the Impala that they used to do the killing in was his mom's Impala, but he used to drive it around, right? So after they did the killing, he drove the Impala to his grandmother's house. He left this Impala at his grandmother's house, wiped the Impala down, and then hopped in another car that his grandmother had there and was driving that around. His whole, I see with the defense team, I don't understand what he's doing, bro, at this point. It's like, bro, just take your lick. You did wrong, just take your lick, bro. It's over with. Now, you could be saying like, hey, I'm a change. That was 2 years ago. I'm a changed man now. I'm not the same man that I was, and I'm not the same man. I'm not in the same mindset that I was that night. He's basically man like, I don't even want to remember what happened that night, bro. You took somebody's life. You can't take people's life and just think it's okay. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to seem hypocritical that like, hey, if somebody did something to one of your family members, granted, that wasn't none of your family members. He wasn't doing none of you. You was just trying to be down. But if somebody take one of your family members, I'm just not like, like, you should just forgive and forget. I ain't there yet. You dig what I'm saying? So I get it. I get your get back. But get your get back and go sit in that cell, bro. Do the crime, do the time. Now, they've been telling us that for years. We don't want to see you on the damn stand crying just because you about to go up there with the big dogs, and I hope you can fight. You young. You about to have to know how to fight, or somebody gonna make you their girlfriend in there, bro. You about to spend the rest of your life being somebody's girlfriend, bro. You about to spend the rest of your life waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning eating terrible food, bro. I hope you get accustomed to that. Since you want to forget about the night that you did a drill, just say, bro, I'm not that same man that I was that night. I am a changed man. I gave myself to the Lord. That's what you want to say.
I'm asking you specifically about your remorse. Were you remorseful when you dropped that car off and left it at your grandmother's house in Auburndale?
I did go to my grandmother's house.
Were you feeling remorse?
We know.
When you hugged her and got into the Forerunner and left her with the Impala after you wiped it down?
Sir, I'm just telling you that today, I would like to express my remorse to you.
I understand what you're trying to do today. I'm asking you, since you're trying to convince this jury that you're remorseful, were you feeling remorse that next day or later that day?
I don't remember these days in detail, how I was feeling, what I was thinking.
What about later that night when you went to Orlando? Were you feeling remorse when you were out partying at Club Parlay, celebrating what you had done that day?
That was my sister's birthday party.
What did you feel any remorse while you were drinking Don Julio tequila and putting that in your video and throwing gang signs?
I'm here to testify about today, sir. We've all seen the evidence, we've all reviewed.
Mr. Chance, it's not time for you now to make speeches. You've politely answered your counsel's questions. Can you not answer the state's questions? Is there something about me?
And even if he is trying to hit you with like, did you feel remorseful then? It's like, even if you would have said yes, what he would have said. So, do you feel remorseful? Did you feel remorseful that night you went out to the club? I did. I felt bad. I felt bad for the fact that I took somebody's life that didn't deserve to die. You know what I mean? I could have like just got out of Jacksonville and not done that. I do feel bad. What are you gonna say? Why you ain't turn yourself in? I was afraid. Like, what are you gonna keep saying? But you just keep saying that you're just here for today. We know what you're here for today because you was found guilty yesterday. We know exactly what you was here for today. You could have accepted the plea deal. You could have snitched. One of the dude was on the run for I don't know how long. So how remorseful do you feel, bro, for taking your trial? You took your case to trial, bro. How remorseful are you, bro? You didn't even. If this was before you was found guilty, you would be still up there saying that you ain't do it. That ain't you in the ski mask. Now that you was found guilty, it's like I'm remorseful. I ain't trying to hear
I
that.
understand.
I was getting to
I'm sorry,
I was
I'm
getting
sorry, Mr. Gathright, I called you Mr. Chance, excuse me.
I was getting to my answer. Like I said, I've seen all the evidence.
Well, we've all seen all the evidence.
Yes, sir. That's true.
And after all that evidence came in, and this jury based their true verdict on that, convicting you, now you're taking accountability? Is that correct?
Sustain the objection. I think the question on the table was remorse about,
Thank you, Your Honor.
just need to answer that question.
Just, I'm gonna ask you very specifically, okay? So try to focus with the laser beam here, Mr. Gathright. Were you feeling remorse when you were in Club Parole in Orlando drinking Don Julio? Were you feeling remorse for what you did earlier that day?
I don't remember how I was feeling or what I was thinking.
Were you feeling remorse when you got pulled over in the Forerunner a couple of days later by the police?
I don't remember. I was nervous. I mean, I had never been involved in any
Were you
police.
feeling remorse when you were unloading the Impala and putting all of that evidence into the Forerunner? Did you feel remorse?
So I told you I don't remember how I was feeling, what I was thinking in those days.
Mr. Gathright, you have led, you would agree with me, an extremely privileged life, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
You would agree with that, correct?
I would.
You've had a loving mother, correct?
Yes, sir.
A loving sister, correct?
Yes, sir.
You've had 2 wonderful grandmothers, correct?
Yes, sir.
You would agree
2?
with me, right?
I couldn't deny that.
One of which,
Oh, I didn't
probably,
know.
I'm assuming, sacrificed and paid for you to go to that private school, that preparatory school, correct?
It wasn't paid. It was a magnet program, so I had to apply, and it was a lottery system.
It was a lottery system. Okay, so it was a magnet.
Yes, sir.
All right. She supported you going there, did she not?
Everybody did.
Gave you open use of her house, welcomed you, treated you, and parented you, basically, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
And took care of you when your parents were employed, correct?
Yes, sir. At the time, I was living with my grandmother. Both my parents had been either retired or out of the military. I was just living there more so. I needed a change of scenery, and my relationship with my father wasn't sustainable.
Okay. This is when you were in Oxford with your grandmother.
Yes, sir.
The nice lady we saw earlier came in here.
Yes, sir.
The one that had supported you. Who spoke so lovingly about you, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so you went to this preparatory school, and whether you got into through a lottery or not, you would agree with me, not everybody gets to go to a school like that, correct?
The lottery school, the magnet school I went to was in middle school. I was in Jacksonville. The school I went to in Oxford was just a public high school.
A public high school.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my mistake. So you went to that.
He ain't even getting what he trying to set him up in, bro. He's trying to put you in this box, you idiot. Nah, I'm saying idiot. My bad. He's trying to put you in this box. He's saying like, hey, bro, you had everything you needed a kid would dream to have growing up. You had 2 parents that was in the military, probably making good money. You had 2 supportive grandmothers. You had a grandmother on this side, on your mom's side, and your dad's side. But you chose to go this way. You chose to go this way. When you could have been going to college, you was in the private school. So these are the choices that you wanted to do. So you can't say you felt remorseful now. This is what you saw. You wanted to do this. This is not something you grew up in. It's not. You're not just a product of your environment. This is what you want. It's the life you wanted to live. I wish I get in some more of the evidence. I might have skipped the jump.
Jacksonville.
Yes, sir.
But again, that school is not something every kid gets to go to, right?
No, sir.
Not every kid gets to have a counselor and a role model like Mr. Edwards, correct?
No, sir. I was very blessed.
And not many children get to fly around with your stepfather, correct?
No, sir.
And fly around in Asia and get to see islands off the coast of Okinawa, correct?
No, sir. I was
So
very blessed.
you are very blessed, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
And not every kid gets to go to Scotland, right?
No, sir.
Or Ireland,
No, sir.
or Paris,
No, sir.
or London,
No, sir.
or Spain,
No, sir.
Cape Town, or Johannesburg, or
No.
both in South Africa.
Cape Town.
Cape Town, beautiful city, right? You got to go experience that when you were growing up, correct?
I did.
Because you had such loving people around you supporting you, correct?
Yes, sir.
In fact, your grandmother went with you on that trip, did she not? Or not on that one, but on the one
Several
trip,
trips,
right?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And we heard you got to meet up with your sister in one of those trips, correct?
I did. I had the privilege.
So you always had someone there taking care of you, and you always had good, strong male role models, including people at your grandmother's church and your stepfather, Mr. Harrington, correct?
I had male role models in my life growing up, but in my more formative years, more so 16 to 18, I did not have a relationship with my father, and the male role models that came and testified, they were present, but not intimately as whenever I was younger, maybe middle school years. But when I turned around 16 to 18, it was the females that actually had that caregiving and nurturing relationship with me. But
Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate it. So,
But that's cool though, bro. Everybody did, bro. I grew up with females too, bro. That ain't not an excuse for you to go be doing drills and stuff like that. That's not the excuse, brother. I think you forgetting the point. But
This goofy really left a life most people dream of and went into a life most people try to escape. Watch as Sean Gathright, aka the Fortnite kid that sent Foolio back to the lobby, gets exposed for going on multiple holidays across the world
But yeah, basically this kid had everything he wanted and wanted to do drills, bro. I'm really trying to get to the point because I know a lot of people ain't get to see He broke it down so good yesterday, bruh. I apologize for this. If y'all stay this long in the video, I'm gonna try to find some evidence for y'all to, not evidence, but more context.
$159 a month.
But I think this is the live one today. No, we're not trying to see this. Come on. I might have to end the joint if I can't find it. I thought that video had it. I'm here to take responsibility. Oh man, come on. Let me see if he got it.
The streets is not the way. The streets are not the way.
Sean Gathright takes the stand in the penalty phase of the Foolio murder trial. I had to upload this as fast as I could. He's trying to save his own life and not get the death penalty. He just wants life in prison. As you can imagine, the cross-examination with the prosecutor that is a specialist in the death penalty goes in. He goes in on this guy. So, hey, subscribe to this guy. I think he's about to testify. I'm pretty sure they're discussing if he's going to testify or not. I think she just said be called Mr. Gathright.
So, Mr. Gathright, this is another stage of the proceeding where you make the decision and only you get to make the decision whether or not to testify, okay? You can choose to remain silent or you can take the stand, be sworn to tell the truth, and then tell the truth. It's my understanding from your counsel that you wish to testify, is that correct? And has anyone, including your attorney, 95C1, can you tell us what we're looking at?
Yeah, so this is actually the very first.
Are you actually able to click on these links that say URL under the like timestamp post and go to the post itself?
Yeah, that's how we confirm the exact post that Rashad Murphy's liking.
Then,
So bam. Check this out, right?
so 1 minute after the transaction, you need to identify markers in that recording and identify the device on which that recording was retrieved from.
Yes.
Was this recording that once you obtained it on any of the
So this is Julio Foolio. He had a party in Tampa, Florida, the night of his passing, right? It was his birthday party, and he posted it on there. And then they just went to doing like investigating to see where they were going to be at and started plotting, right? So we're going to look into this a little bit.
Yes, it was specifically on Sean Gathright's iCloud return.
publishing 138B1? Was there a volume or
So this is him posting his location, showing the Airbnb, right?
I can recall the screen where they had it.
And this is Sean Gathright. This is Sean Gathright's iCloud account screen recording trying to find that exact location in Tampa, Florida. I mean, he's searching, bro. This ain't it. That ain't it. That ain't it. That ain't it. He really looking. Now he's filtering it to exactly match whatever he's looking for, right? But he never really finds it though. It's him going back to look at the video. He want more clarity of the video. I don't know why he screen recorded it for, but he's searching though. Still searching.
able to take still images from that recording?
Yes.
And are you able to identify certain markers from those still images identifying this
Little boxes, and you can see the
president with Charles Jones?
Yes.
And was that person confirmed recording for your phone on your settings?
Yes, the red dot.
What is that?
That pin location that you visit often, and on this specific device, it was Victoria Lakes, which is the address that matches on Gateway to Sunday morning, the 23rd.
Is this the last of the post from Saturday night on the 22nd?
I believe so, yes.
Were you able to document the actual videos or recordings from the post that Charles Jones was making?
Yes.
And were they stored in your Instagram returns as separate video files?
Yes.
See if I can turn that volume down first. All right, so on the 22nd at 11:07 p.m., is this the last post of the evening, or last video of the evening before we get to the early hours of Twitter?
Correct.
Are you also able, in the course of your investigation, to identify a Mizzle present at the Airbnb?
Yes.
And And was it in or at McDonald's for approximately 1:35 to 1:43? Is that correct?
Approximately, yes.
And during the same course of that time, is there a conversation started that you have recovered from the device of Sean Gathright?
Yes, so while these three are at McDonald's, there's from Sean Gathright's iCloud account, we can see that he's texting a woman, yes.
94C2, is this the text message that was recovered, or the text message exchange that was recovered from Sean Gathright?
Correct.
Were you able to ascertain through your review of the device and the media itself the relationship between Sean Gathright and an individual by the name of Kyle Enright?
Yes.
What was the nature of that relationship?
Sean Gathright and Kyle Enright appear to be romantically involved with each other.
And what's the relationship to Davion Gathright?
Kyle Enright, Sean Gathright's girlfriend, is good friends with Sean Gathright's sister, Davion Gathright.
Now, did Sean Gathright actually make the admissions that Miss Kyle Enright was his girlfriend, official girlfriend?
No.
Is that information that you believe from the content of the exchanges?
Yes.
Talk to me about that text message exchange, please, starting at 1:32 a.m.
So starting at 1:32 a.m. on the early morning hours of Sunday the 23rd, while the other three are at McDonald's, Sean Gathriight's device texts Kyle Enright's device saying, I need you to text back away. I need you all to text back away.
Were you able throughout the course of your investigation to determine who the fat boy was or may have been?
Yes.
Who's that?
Xavier Edwards.
And what, if any, responses there?
Kyle responds about what?
Does Mr. Gathright respond?
Yes, he says, hey sis, I need you to text back away, and tells him you're trying to pull up and trying to see him tonight.
At this point, do you know who's on the other line from Miss Kyle Enright's device?
From Kyle Enright's statement, we knew that her and Nebby were together this time, but when he says, hey sis, I'm not 100% sure whether Sean's talking to his.
So this is him trying to get one of the girls, I guess, to text one of Julio's friends that's with Julio right now. He like, hey yo, text him and say you want to link up. So you know what I mean, let us know if Julio there. But the shorty's like, yeah, he know I'm gone. I've been on FaceTime with him. I'm out. I've been on FaceTime while I'm out. So she like, bro, I know what y'all trying to do, but he gonna know what's going on.
This through Nebby's through Kyle's device, or he's talking directly to Kyle.
And is there a response as well to his messages about texting fat boy?
Yes.
What is that?
He know I'm gone. I've been FaceTiming him while I'm out.
Does Mr. Gathright send additional messages, and what were they?
Yes, he says he's in Tampa right now. Bro, make it seem like you don't know that he's there. He's at a B&B with 6. Be like, where you at? I want to pull up. I'm drunk and trying to fuck. And then never mind.
Was there a response to his 4 text messages?
Yes, we had Tierra Club.
This is all Sean Gathright, the one that was feeling super remorseful for his actions.
Were you able to, throughout your investigation, determine where the devices for Kyle Enright or Davion Gathright were on the early morning hours of the 23rd, or these messages were sent?
Their devices, no.
Or where they are?
Yes, their statements are aligned.
Does Kyla, or the title Kyla, respond?
Yes. Kyla says, you want to come to the B&B with us, question mark? And Sean Gathright says, no, I'm in Tampa. I'm trying to see where his B&B is at. Kyla then responds, who's B&B? And then Sean Gathright responds, 6.
Throughout the course of your investigation, was identified as 6.
The victim, Charles Jones.
Was there anything after 6 and before Sean Gathright sends another text?
Yeah, in between 6 and Fools? There was nothing in between 6 and Fools. The very next one, he elaborates Fools.
And what was the message after that?
Fools, and then it's his birthday, and Fat Boy's with him.
To your understanding, was it Charles Jones' birthday weekend, the celebration for which they all came down to Tampa?
Yes.
And did Kyla respond?
Yes, not here in Jacksonville.
And, yeah.
This girl slow as I don't know what. How you don't get what he trying to say, bro? Like, he like, bro, he already told you. She said, not here in Jackson. We already know that it's not here in Jackson. It's in Tampa. She said, what?
No, they're in Tampa. Kind of the response. What? Question mark?
Does Kyla send another message after what?
The very next one after what is, let me FaceTime.
And does Sean Gathright respond?
Bro, make it like you don't know it. And then Kyla responds, Fat Boy's going to Beezer's tonight, or some shit like that.
At 1:34 a.m., does Mr. Jones start to post updates about his location to Instagram?
Correct.
What was the first update, please? 95A.
Yeah, so at 1:34
But yeah, I don't want to play the actual shooting, but Sean Gathright was also one of the lead shooters that was actually the closest to shooting Julio Foolio, but that's neither here nor there, man. Kids, if you can't do the crime, don't do the. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime, man. If you're willing to sit down and stand on your actions or whatever it is that you do it, I'm not saying just take anybody's life, but don't be trying to get on the stand and be like you're just so remorseful for it. No, you're not, bro. I'm not saying give him the death penalty, but everybody deserves a second chance. Maybe life in prison, some laws will change or something like that, or I don't know. You know, God works in mysterious ways. Maybe if you feel like you should be back on the street, if you don't get the death penalty, maybe if you get life, then maybe it'll work out for you. But right now, it's not looking so good, man. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.